What's up, guys? Ryan Galloway here for LowKick MMA with Jordan Ellis, previewing UFC 260, the coming pay-per-view this weekend, headlined by the heavyweights Stipe Miocic and Francis Ngannou. Jordan, before we get into the fights separately, what do you think of this whole card? Obviously, it lost its co-main event. How do you think it stacks up now?
Yeah, it's strong. It's strong. Heavyweights sell. Heavyweights will always sell, and this is the biggest heavyweight fight you can make, really. Stipe against Francis. Francis has been on a tear. Stipe is the most successful heavyweight champion in UFC history. So here we are with rematch. It's a huge fight, and despite losing the co-main, it's still huge.
Yeah, I think it'll be a great one. We'll jump straight into that big matchup at the top there for the title then. Stipe Miocic obviously just defended the heavyweight title more than anyone else. Arguably the greatest heavyweight champion of all time. Just a monster all over the shop. He's a great grappler. He's a great stand-up fighter. He's fought Ngannou before, and he won by dominant decision victory. Do you think there's going to be big changes in this fight from how it plays out and Ngannou's game plan, or what do you think happens?
No, I think Ngannou's going to try and take his head off, as he always tries to take everyone's head off. I think the most surprising thing is that Ngannou is the favourite heading in, despite losing last time so dominantly, despite all the success Stipe's had. And it's a surprise, but I'm also back on Francis just because I feel like since he's that loss, he's had quite an easy time. He's had a nice time. He's just been, absolutely starching everyone he's come into contact with. Meanwhile, Stipe's been having wars. Like he's been in wars and he's been getting beat up. And can he take? He's been knocked out since then, hasn't he? As well, DC knocked him out after that. Yeah, so he's had 3 wars back to back with Daniel Cormier, and they take it out of someone, and he's late 30s now, I think. And can he stand up to Francis Ngannou in the first few rounds? And because I think after that it'll be easy for Miocic, but can he survive? And I don't think he will. I think we'll get a new champion, which is almost disrespectful to say because he everyone's writing him off and he's the champion and he's already beat this guy. He dominantly beat him, so it's a weird thing to say, but that's who I'm going with. I'm going Ngannou.
That's okay, because I'm not writing him off here. I think Stipe retains, and I'll tell you why. If you look at that first matchup, it wasn't just that he was taking these shots and surviving, that made him win. He was landing better shots back. He was outstriking Ngannou tenfold. Even in the stand-up, it wasn't even close, you know what I mean? So technically, I think Stipe is just a better fighter. Can he take these shots after being knocked out by Cormier? Who knows? But if you look at the 2 rematches against Cormier hit him with huge shots, and none of them did nothing to him. It was really in that first fight. I just think he didn't see that one coming, and he just got caught by something he didn't see, and that's why he went out. Maybe a lot of people have said it. Maybe it was the damage from that Ngannou fight that led to him being knocked out in the subsequent Cormier fight. But he's had a long layoff since his last fight, and even though the 2 before that he didn't get knocked out, so it's like I don't think that's going to be too much of an issue coming into this one. Yes, Ngannou can knock him out with a big shot. I just don't see it happening. I just really think Stipe defends.
Yeah, and it's smart money just because, he's clearly technically better. He's got the more weapons in terms of how he can win this fight. He could outbox Ngannou. He could take this fight to the floor. He could put it up against the cage, as we've seen against Cormier. He's got a lot of weapons. It's just for me, he's like, to make a analogy, he's a car who's been driving on the motorway for years. Ngannou's fresh out the shop like that. This is what it feels like. At this point, Stipe has got so many more miles on the clock than Ngannou. Ngannou's coming into this fight fresh, full of confidence. He looked fantastic. He's beat Cain Velasquez, Rosenstruck Jr., and who else did he beat? Who was it last? Curtis Blades. They're big wins. They're huge wins. And I think combined time, it's about 2 minutes for them all. So it's very impressive. And he just looks like an animal. And I just don't think Miocic is going to survive the many rounds. But we've written him off before. Everyone's written him off before. Miocic is one of the most disrespected champions we've ever had. So it's no surprise to hear someone like me saying that. I know what I'm saying. I just fancy Ngannou in this one, but I understand that it is a 50-50 fight, and Miocic is well capable of knocking Ngannou out, wrestle him to the victory. He can get this win in so many ways, so you'd never write him off.
And that's the thing. You mentioned that it's been 2 minutes of fight time. Sorry, I'm dying. And it's only been 2 minutes of fight time in his last 4 fights. You think about that fight with Stipe the first time. After 5 minutes, after the first round, he looked done. He looked so fatigued. And after that, his shots just didn't carry any power. Well, sorry, they carried power, but they didn't carry anywhere near the power that he used to throw in that first round at the start. So if Stipe can make it out of the first round, I think he can coast to victory. If I'm betting on Ngannou, if I'm taking Ngannou in this one, I'm betting on the first round finish or nothing else, you know?
Yeah, if you've got money on Ngannou and it goes, the first round buzzer sounds and Miocic is fine, you're going to be worried about your bet. You're going to be, and I'm sure the bookmakers will be jacking the prices up then. I don't think we're going to see Ngannou with, particularly... I'm sure he's done improvements with his cardio and his wrestling and things like that, but it's not going to be leaps and bounds. He's still what he is. He's a big knockout artist. He's carrying a lot of muscle, and then people tend to tire more quickly. So it's the longer this fight goes, the better it is for Stipe. It's just getting out of that. It's getting out of them first round, maybe 2 rounds, and then it's game on for Stipe. But it's easier said than done, and let's see what Ngannou can do.
Absolutely. And our co-main event now, the new co-main event, Tyron Woodley, former welterweight champion, taking on Vicente Luque, who is coming off a win, I believe, over Nico Price. Is that correct, or am I wrong?
Yeah, was that the last one?
Yeah, because Tyron's coming off that loss to Covington. Obviously, he broke his rib in that one, and he's coming off 3 on the bounce.
He beat Randy Brown last time, that was a good fight, to be fair.
That's right.
Good KO. So that's 2 in a row for him. And Tyrone, it's all on the line. This might win or lose. This might be Tyrone's last fight because I don't think Vicente Luque necessarily gets him back in the mix. If he beats Vicente, it's a huge step down, and it's one you'd expect him to win. But Vicente is a tough guy. He takes a shot well. Luckily, he's not a wrestler for Woodley, who is what he's been struggling with. So, very interesting fight, and interested to see how Woodley looks. Can he start throwing them shots? Was he maybe just shot shy because of the people he was facing? Because Vicente Luque, I'd be surprised if he tries to wrestle him. Good fight, good main event. Even though he's just lost a big fight, this is a former welterweight champion, one of the best we've ever seen at 170. In a tough scrap, looking to snap that losing streak. Looking forward to watching it.
Yeah, and I mean, Luque comes from the best camp you could have to fight Woodley. Henry Hoof, his coach, has coached both Burns and Usman to victories. Granted, they were wrestling heavy game plans, but, I'm sure Henry Hoof by now knows Tyron's game to a T. And he's got a great plan going into this fight for Luque. And it really does come down to, can Tyron land something big and put him out? Or... alternatively, does Tyron go back to his wrestling? We haven't seen it often, but does he just mix it up and go back to his wrestling in this one? Who knows? I agree with what you're saying. This could be Tyron's last fight. I really hope it's not because I'm a fan of his. But yeah, if he loses this one, I think he should retire, really, because you don't want to just be one of these guys that falls lower and lower down the rankings. And even with a win here, it is a difficult spot. But I think there are fights for him if he gets a victory here that would be fun and could put him close to a title shot. But it needs to be a few before he gets there, you know what I mean?
Yeah, ideally, I want them to see him move up to middleweight. I know he's a short guy, but he's absolutely, stacked for welterweight, and I think he can mix it up there if he can just let his hands go. That's the problem. We've been saying it for quite a while. It's not like Woodley's necessarily ever been a big, output. He's never put the output out. In terms of even when he beat Till, he was backing up, and then Till just left his chin in the air and got bingoed. So these things. I don't know. Luque is a busy guy. He's not going to gas. He's going to stay in his face. And Woodley, for me, it does feel like Woodley just needs to land that one shot. But good fight, good test. Luque, brilliant opportunity for him. Big moment for Woodley. So let's see how that one goes.
Speaking of knockout artists, before that we have bantamweight Sean O'Malley returning after his first career loss, undefeated according to himself, putting his undefeated record on the line against Thomas Almeida. What do you think about this? How do you think Sugar goes after taking his first loss?
Yeah, this is a drop. This is a real drop down for me. I know Thomas Almeida back in the day was a potential contender, but right now he's just not. He's just lost to Jordan Espinosa, who just lost to Davy Grant. And would you consider Davy Grant, in this kind of scenario, fringe top 15? I don't think he is yet. So I think Sean O'Malley's taking a step down. He's going to try and work confidence and get the momentum built back, because as I said, he's retained some fans. I still think like despite the loss and how he's took it, he's kept some fans. If he can go out and look fantastic against Almeida, get a highlight reel knockout, he's back in the game. I do think Sean O'Malley's still a star. If he can just put the performance on to prove that, we'll see him back in there in a big fight, and despite everything, he's third fight on a pay-per-view, on a big pay-per-view. So it shows what the UFC think of him.
Yeah, but I mean, like, you look at the losses that Almeida has had. Really, outside of that Martinez loss, he's only lost to top guys. He's got Font, Rivera, and Garbrandt. And the question here is, how good is O'Malley? You know what I mean? Like, he was finishing guys early when he came to UFC. He put 3 knockouts together, I believe. Quiones, maybe just 2. It's Quiones, and then the moustache guy that I'm blanking. Anyway, and then he obviously took that loss to Vera. So we still don't know where he sits in this division. This should be a test for him to pass with flying colors. But if he doesn't, what do you do with O'Malley? Because his star's just going to diminish if he takes a second loss,
Yeah, he can potentially bulk up and go up. I don't see him losing this fight. I feel like this fight's his to win. I know Almeida, he's got them losses, but he had a long layoff as well. He just hasn't come back the same fight. He didn't look the same in that last fight. Can he turn it around? And I think this is all set up for O'Malley to win. I really do. I just think O'Malley is getting a touch here early. To go from Vera to Thomas Almeida is a few steps down, and I think the UFC want him to win. I think he's a star, and if he wins, it's game on again. The ball keeps rolling. We get another fight. He's going to talk a load of smack, and he'll talk himself into another big fight. And let's see how he does. But always excited to see Sean O'Malley. It's always fun to watch, and looking forward to it.
And right before that, we were meant to have another exciting striking match between Jamie Malarkey and Karma Worthy. But I'll preface this one with Malarkey's a teammate of Volkanovski and a teammate of Riddell's. I don't know if he came with them, if he's been staying with them. But he's still on the card as it stands according to Wikipedia or wherever I'm reading this on. So I don't know if this fight will stay, but let's hope it does because it'll be a fun one on the feet, won't it?
Yeah, and Karma Worthy was unlucky last time, wasn't he? It was Michel Pereira?
No, it was Azaitar.
Oh yeah, who am I getting him mixed up with? Anyway, Azaitar knocked him out, didn't he? Really? Yeah. Oh, that was a vicious one, that actually. Yeah, so good fight. It's this is where I'd say the card starts to weaken a bit. I think they're gonna have to readjust in terms of maybe bulking up that main card, adding one of the undercard fights. We've got a few good undercard fights they could probably add on to that, because a 4-5 pay-per-view main card, I know I don't have the issue, but some people are going to be paying $70 for that. So will they want to? Because it's basically just for 1, 2, 3 fights.
Yeah, hopefully Khabib's sitting cage side and can just stream it on his Instagram again. But I think that fight is pretty fun, Like, Malarkey's a brawler. He's one of those strikers just really willing to get hit to land shots. Worthy's more technical with his approach. But I think that could be a really interesting fight. Maybe even fight of the night. Who knows? Depends how the other ones go. Jumping on to the prelims here. According to the thing I'm looking at, there's not many, so I don't know if that's right. What does it say on your end?
So we've got Alonzo Menifield against William Knight. That's a really good fight. If I'm talking about fight of the night, it could go one or two ways. It could be a fight of the night, or someone could just knock someone out in 20 seconds. I think they're both really, really big bangers. And I think Alonzo really needs a win. We spoke to him quite recently, and I think he's on the back of 2 losses. And it all started so well for himself because he'd come into the UFC, he'd got a knockout over Paul Craig, and Paul Craig, he's fringe top 15. And then back-to-back losses, Devin Clark, OSP, and tough for him. But William Knight is a good fight. It's a good name. It's on a big card. So really excited for that one. That's one I'm paying attention to anyway.
Yeah, that should be a fun one. 2 light heavyweight bangers there. What else have we got here? I'm skimming through these now. We'll just go through them. You got your guy from your neck of the woods, Modestas Bukauskas, according to this, is fighting Michael Olex. Can't say that one. But Bukauskas is back in action again. What do you think of that?
Yeah, I learned that name because I was interviewing Modestas, so it's Michel Oleksiejczuk.
There you go.
Yeah, I learned that while I was actually speaking to Modestas, so I was like, what 1 minute, I just need to get this name right. So yeah, good fight for Modestas. Last time out, it just didn't go his way. He was a bit wide open for Jimmy Cruton. He told me that after the fight, he was speaking to Jimmy, and Jimmy was giving him some pointers. This is what we've seen in your game technically that we could take an advantage of. And he said he's took that advice. He's gone back to Jimmy. He's working on it. And he's planned to bang it out here. I think he's expecting someone to, it's going to be on the feet. He's expecting a striking fight with this one, and really good fight. Another one, and I'm hoping we see Modesta, get the chance to show what he's about. Looking forward to that one. And then obviously before that, we've got Gillian Robertson against Miranda Maverick, which is I think it was scheduled a while back, but we get it now. Really fun fight. I'm looking forward to this one. I was looking forward to it last time. Again, I'm looking forward to it. And then besides that, who else have we got? Jessica Penn. Can't remember the last time she fought. Like it's been a few years.
I do feel like they're going to add more fights to this card, especially because the prelims says there's only 2 fights on it. So I don't know what's going on with the order of the fights, if they're planning to add more, but I really think they need to buff it up. One thing I will mention real quick is Shane Young is another City Kickboxing guy, so that fight could potentially be pulled as well. We don't know.
Yeah, well, City Kickboxing's kind of spread out, isn't it? So they don't necessarily all train together. It's like, is it New Zealand and Australia, and they kind of have them everywhere?
But I believe he's been in camp with Riddell and Volkanovski as well, because they all came together.
Very interesting to see how this works, and I'm guessing, but we've got like a Nurmagomedov on the card, so I'm guessing that's a Khabib relative.
Yep, he'll be calling.
Yeah, Dagestan. Yeah, so we've got another Nurmagomedov, so that'll be fun to watch. And yeah, I do think they need to, this card looks a bit messy at the minute. I think we've had obviously COVID, it does wreck some things, but the core of it is still good. Stipe, Francis, Tyrone Woodley, Sean O'Malley. That sounds pay-per-view to me. It's just everything else you need to it just needs to bulk up, I think.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. I thought the other day when Volkanovski obviously was forced to pull out his fight, I thought maybe they could throw that Edwards versus Muhammad rematch on there just to fill it up. But then I looked into it, and Muhammad's suspended until April 4th or something, so they couldn't do that one. But yeah, hey, it's a pretty good card all around. I'm very excited to see what happens, especially on the main card fights. So it should be a good one. Thanks for watching, guys, and we'll speak to you after all the action.
Thanks, guys.
Make sure to subscribe to the LowKick MMA YouTube channel for all the latest news, event previews, and interviews with some of the biggest stars in MMA.